Hi, everyone. Steve Adubato. We kick off the program with a guest who's joined us in the past, and she had important things to say. She will again. State Assemblywoman Ellen Park is a Democrat representing the 37th Legislative District up in Bergen County, New Jersey, the Parliamentarian in the New Jersey State Assembly. Assemblywoman, thank you so much for joining us.
Hi, thank you for having me.
You got it. Can I start on the federal level first? Do you mind?
Sure.
The big, beautiful bill.
Yes.
Yeah. I just had an interesting conversation with a conservative commentator who is very supportive of the legislation. I asked this commentator about SNAP, it's the Supplemental Nutrition
Yes.
Program, and otherwise known as food stamps. And we went back and forth on it. And the question I've been asking, and the issue that many of us are concerned about, is there are thousands of Americans. There are a significant number of New Jerseyans, 800,000 New Jerseyans, who rely on SNAP.
Yeah.
Is it a fact that SNAP benefits were cut in the federal bill and that impacts almost 1 million New Jerseyans?
Absolutely. I mean, I think because of the new big, beautiful bill or the federal budget right now, people will really realize how much funding as a state we get from the federal. So it's definitely going to impact. We are trying to brace ourselves to really help the lower income families here in New Jersey. We are bracing ourselves. We're going to, I'm sure, pivot along the way. But yes, it is definitely going to have a huge impact. I believe 20% of New Jerseyans are on Medicaid of some form or another.
Yeah, and the Medicaid cuts as well. The estimates are that 360,000 New Jerseyans on Medicaid, they may be removed from Medicaid because the dollars will not be there to support it.
Yeah.
Does the state pick up that burden, Assemblywoman?
I don't think we're required to pick up the burden per se, but we are here to help our residents. And, we've always been very in the forefront of helping those in need. So we will definitely try to help those in need. I can't say right now what that's going to be or how much that's going to be, but we definitely will not let anyone go hungry or not get certain health assistance if they need it, medical assistance. Yeah.
Let me bring it. It's interesting when I say let me bring it back closer to New Jersey, because that is close to New Jersey. Even though the decisions are being made in the nation's capital, it has an impact in New Jersey as well. Can you tell us what this is, the New Jersey Children's Data Protection Commission? What is it, and why do you care deeply about it?
More and more social media has been a part of our children's lives. And the big companies are using this data to not only solicit and try to sell and, maybe even influence our children to their benefit. And so I think we need eyes on this to say, you know what, this is very harmful to children. They're being targeted for whether it's to purchase certain goods or to think a certain way. And so I think we definitely need this commission. I have personal experience from my own kids, and there were all these trends when kids were eating like the Tide Pods, thinking that that was okay, and kids have died, or the certain challenges that they do on these platforms. Like someone needs to be monitoring this and being held responsible and accountable for our children's health and wellness.
Let's talk about the state budget. You are the vice chair of the budget committee, correct?
Yes.
What's your response to Republicans who say that the state budget under Governor Murphy has increased? That's not even them saying, it's a fact. It has increased exponentially, and to a degree that's unprecedented in state history, that the state simply spends too much money, which in turn impacts tax policies to support that budget. How do you respond to the fact that many argue the budget's just grown too quickly? We spend too much.
Um, one hand goes with the other, right? If there's more revenue and there's more money being raised in New Jersey, we are now taking that money to invest in our state. So, I think on that sense, even when your own home budget, if there's more money, there's certain things that we haven't looked at, such as, the pension being fully funded for the first time. This is the first time we have $6.7 billion in surplus that we're going to hold off on, right? And so years before, when school funding wasn't met, pensions weren't met, yeah, we didn't spend any money, but now we have the ability to do so, and so that's what we're doing. We're investing in our own future, and it takes money to do that.
And along those lines, you're up in Bergen County. It's one of the wealthier counties in the state. Doesn't mean that every community of the 70, I believe,
Yeah.
in Bergen County, 70 local governments in and of itself, which is a fascinating issue, how small towns can be. Affordability, huge issue. What do you believe the most significant actions a new governor would have to take, along with the legislature, in January 2026, when a new governor takes over, to make the state even remotely more affordable?
I mean, that's, it's going to be across the board. Obviously, housing needs to be more affordable. Food and the supermarkets need to be more affordable. Healthcare. I think we really need to put pen to paper and figure out, how we can cut costs. And I know, like, ever since COVID, the cost of food, in certain areas of food, I guess, like just the cost of beef has doubled. I noticed when I go to the supermarket, right? Cost of meat has doubled. And, it's really hard to get simple things that used to cost nothing, like carrots, for instance, right? You can't get a bag of carrots for less than $3 now. All the things that you used to cook with, like, it is very difficult. And you're going to, even as a mom, as a wife, like, I go through the shopping list to figure out where I can cut costs. I do that every time I go shopping. So I think we need to kind of think about that in a broader aspect and also put pen to paper here in the state.
But along those lines, Assemblyman, people will often say when things are unaffordable or difficult to afford, who do I blame? And I noticed when President Trump was running, he made it clear that he would, day one, a lot of things were supposed to happen. And imagine he finds out as president, it's a lot harder to do those things. Or that the governor doesn't do this alone. Where in your mind, I know this is a somewhat philosophical question, but where does the issue of someone's accountable for contributing to the unaffordability of New Jersey or any other state in the nation of goods and services, but you're not totally responsible for it? It's my way of asking, how much can government really do, a legislature, a governor, a president, and Congress, to actually impact the price of things?
Yes. I mean, I think there's definitely, we can work on legislation, and I know we have in the past, about those who price gouge, right? We did it during COVID.
Explain to folk what that means.
Oh, so like during COVID, all of a sudden, the price of masks, things that we couldn't get our hands on, hand sanitizer, certain food items, they double, triple the price. And when I say they, it's the retailers, it's the I guess the vendors even, right? Where they could take, say, you want to buy this, we're going to now charge you 100% double what it costs because we can, right?
Because we can, and you need it, and you have to get it.
Yes, and I think we really need to be harsher on that. I mean, the price of eggs, had gone down, but they haven't really gone down significantly, right? And I feel like, well, why is that? Why, and I think we need to look at why that is from the beginning to the end, why certain items, certain goods, that the vendors and the retailers can now price gouge.
I'm going to ask a question that someone might say, well, that's not a New Jersey-centric question, Steve, but it's relevant because you're a Democrat. You're a moderate Democrat who works across the aisle and tries to get things done. But the Democratic Party, there's a question here, trust me. The Democratic Party is pretty split among those who are mainstream Democrats and those who are much further to the left, including, as we speak, in the middle of July, the candidate running who won the Democratic Party nomination, Mr. Mamdani, a Democratic socialist, who's argued there should not be billionaires, that a whole range of services should be free. You don't have to pay for it. Is that the kind of Democrat that you relate to, or is there another Democratic Party?
Um, you know, maybe I think he's about 20 years
He's the
younger than me.
nominee, but
um,
he's the nominee.
yeah,
He's a state assemblyman
yes,
in New York State. Now he's potentially going to become the mayor of the largest, most significant city in the country.
sure.
His policies are what they are.
Yep.
And that's not what the Speaker of the House in New Jersey, Craig Coughlin, is about. It's not what the President of the Senate, Nick Scutari, is about. It's a different
Yes,
philosophy.
yes,
Are there two parties?
yes. And I'm saying I'm probably I don't agree with a lot of his politics. But there's always room. So I base on certain moderate, I guess, upbringing myself, right? I came here in the 80s. It was very different in the 80s. And we were always taught, coming from a different country, that here in America, you can make anything of yourself. You can be a billionaire, as long as you worked hard and, and it's attainable, right? So, the whole thing with him, I know the free transportation, I don't think that's a great idea. However, I think senior citizens in most countries have free access to public transportation. So, to me, well, why don't we offer it, to the senior citizens? Like that.
As long as you can pay for it, Assemblywoman, as long as you can pay for it, and as opposed to just saying, we'll tax wealthier people more, because that's so easy to say.
Right. Yeah, just be a blanket issue. It has to be, a little more thought out. You have to look at the numbers. But, of course, we want to help those in need.
That's right.
And, those people come first. I think that's what we really need to focus on. And I think, blue or red, I think in New Jersey, we all have the same priorities here. It's affordability, it's good education, it's safety. Those are our top priorities. And, from there, we can agree to disagree on certain other items. But, that's how I see things, is that we as a state must keep those three things viable.
State Assemblywoman Ellen Park from Bergen County, I thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
You got to stay with us. We'll be right back.
Think Tank with Steve Adubato is a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation. Funding has been provided by Holy Name, New Jersey Children's Foundation, Operating Engineers, Local 825, the New Jersey Economic Development Authority, New Brunswick Development Corporation, Eastern Atlantic States Regional Council of Carpenters, IBEW Local 102, the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey, Congress Hall, a Cape Resorts property. And by these public-spirited organizations, individuals, and associations committed to informing New Jersey citizens about the important issues facing the Garden State. Promotional support provided by New Jersey Globe and by NJBIA.
I'm Tim Sullivan, CEO of the New Jersey Economic Development Authority. Since joining the NJEDA, I've been struck by the incredible assets and resources that New Jersey has to offer. The NJEDA is working every day to grow New Jersey's economy in a way that maximizes the values of those assets to benefit every single New Jersey resident. This includes more support for small businesses and a focus on reclaiming New Jersey's position as a leader in the innovation economy. Visit njeda.com to learn more about how NJEDA is building a stronger and fairer New Jersey economy.